Most people over 40 are setting up their Zoom all wrong, and it is super unflattering. And with just a few tweaks, you could take your video from this to this. Follow along for easy ways to do that. Now, let's meet Beth.
I noticed that as I got older, my skin was changing. I was getting that mature woman's skin. That was scary. And I just became just kind of blah. And I'm like, oh, what's the point?
Hi, I'm Kristen Arnett. I am a makeup artist, beauty expert. I have a membership called the Healthy Beauty Oasis, a wonderful community for people over 40 to experience inner and outer beauty in a whole new way. I am welcoming one of my fantastic members, Beth, to have a one-on-one experience on how to do everything from up-leveling her presence on Zoom. We're going to bring in another expert to talk about style, to how to get past some of those hurdles with makeup that a lot of us face when we're over 40. And she's agreed to let me walk her through this process and let all of you watch in on how we do that. You're going to be able to take away some really great tips and tricks for yourself that you can use in your everyday life without even needing to buy any more stuff. Up-leveling what you're already doing to put you into that more wow factor.
So I am so excited to be here and to just absorb everything you're going to show me and then show up to the group looking really refreshed and brand new.
And feeling that, like really embodying it. You showed up to the classes, doing the things that I teach, and you're really trying, which is why we picked you. And you're just a really awesome human being. So that's where we're headed.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Let's
yes,
go.
Yes. All right.
Woo! First of all, I see that you have a dark patch behind you and a light patch on the other side of you. That side where the light is coming from is your right side, correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. I'm going to assume that that's your natural window light. About how many feet do you think it's from you?
2, 3.
Okay, so that's good. So what happens is with a lot of webcams and device cams is that they try to calibrate and bring you somewhere in the middle between the darkest and the lightest. So that means here you're getting all this, what we call blowout, where the light is very white on the skin. And then you have all this that's receding here. And when you're over 40, the most flattering light is going to be a soft light that hits you about 45 degrees at an angle coming from slightly above you, about 3 to 5 feet away from the window, as flat as you can onward. And now that's not always possible in every setup. So we're going to see what is possible. And then from there, we'll add fill light where we need to. And I just want to show you with my light right now, I have that exact setup that I'm talking about. I have a front facing window with only natural light here. I want to show you what happens if I add my lights to the side. So give me one sec. So now you can see that just by adding light from right above me here, one light on this side, one light on this side, it's really sharpened everything up. There's less shadow and my features pop more. Can you see that, Beth?
I do see that.
Yeah. So before wasn't bad, but this is like even better. Right?
Yes.
The light helps. So that's what we're going to do with your light now.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. What is possible in terms of how your device is set up? Can we face you more flat to the window?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's start that first. Let me have you turn so that you are facing the window more flat.
All right. So this is facing. Ooh, I wonder if that's now all this. Did it just go the opposite way?
Well, what's happening now is, you remember that dark part that was behind you? That's actually showing up here because there's no reflection. But the reason that we try different spaces is to understand where it looks the best in your background and how much fill light we can put in those dark spaces. And we're going to start first working with the natural light, and then we work with the artificial light. People usually do this wrong because they're starting with the artificial light and then they don't consider what else they can use to really create a beautiful space for themselves. So let's keep you here for now. And then let's have you raise your entire device setup. So if you've got shoe boxes, books, anything like that, you want your device to raise, but you want to be low
So then
So sit back down.
Sit back down.
Yeah.
I put my laptop on like 3 books.
Now, can you tip the laptop forward so the camera is pointing more down at you? Okay, already this is better.
Already.
Right?
Yes.
You can see a little bit more directly into your eye. We're getting the extension from the neck. So maybe that's not your ideal background. Let's see what happens if you turn with more of the background that you had before with at this height.
So this would be 45 degrees.
Wait, let me stop there for a sec. Let me just see.
Because this is,
that looks good.
I literally turned the table from this way to this way. Well, since the light's opposite, I think that if I do catty corner, I'm getting light.
Yes. Then you have your light coming
like
from 2 sources.
Like the face funnel.
Exactly. Like the face funnel, which is a technique that we teach in the Oasis. Okay, perfect. So now we have a better background going. We have lots of natural light hitting you a lot more evenly. Now you pop from the background. If we were to be really cinematic about the whole thing, I would want you to add lights in the back of you to illuminate that area. But you know, that's then getting even more complicated. And what we want to do is just give you the simplest way to get the best result first. So let's take you to get the ring light and set that up. And I'm going to have you put it a little bit more on your left side rather than directly in front of you.
So, and I think I got this kind of set up, right? So it's plugged in. It's to my left.
All right. So turn it on for us and let's see. Yes. Look at yourself in the screen. Can you see how that just brightened that whole area?
Wow.
Right?
Yes.
It already looks so, so good. Now, wow. There's different light levels to that, right? Yeah. So that's the highest click. It was about 9 or 10, but that's okay. We know that it's in the white mode, which is probably daylight, and daylight is what you're working with in front of you. So that's why we want to fill it with daylight. We want the color temperature to match, so you don't have yellow here and kind of a more daylight white blue here, you know? So now that we have that, I'm going to see actually, can you tip your device just slightly more down? Just a tiny bit, right about there. Okay. Because a lot of the things I see people doing is that they tip their device straight up and down. And so you have to just go as far as you're willing to go without it being difficult to see your own screen. Because when it tips down like that, it gives you a little bit more of this elongated perspective that looks more natural in the camera versus when we do this. And it's like, hi, I'm on a Zoom meeting, you know, like, hold on, it's this thing that people do. They look down and hello, you know, and that's fine. But if you can get it to the collarbone to about the top of your head, it's a much better, more flattering view in terms of composition.
Night and day difference, really amazing.
If you were in another environment where you didn't have as much natural light, you would move the ring light more in front of you. But what we're doing is just balancing what you do have and working with it. Okay, let's talk about your background real quick, just because if you're on a professional call, you know, you want to make sure that that's really dialed in. So what I would do is I would go close the door behind you, move the picture that's coming out of your arm. I mean, I know you didn't know we were going to necessarily be in this direction, and so I'm having you move all this stuff, but just those two things that are sort of by that door. And then let's see what happens when you turn on those track lights behind you. They could, if they have a dimmer setting, do they?
They don't.
Okay, let's see what happens. They might blow out your background. It might be bad, but it also could be really good. And we don't know till we try.
Okay.
For those of you watching, this is a good time to look at your background and see where you can add illumination and declutter.
LED lights are they're like a yellow. They look yellow to me. They're not cool white. They're
right, which is mostly what's in people's houses. But I think it looks nice to have that area illuminated behind you. The lights themselves are a bit bright. If we were going to be really picky, we would move the lights so that they don't point into the camera. Does that room that you just walked into have a light?
It does.
Okay, let's put that light on too. Yeah, have a seat. Let me see if that light interacts too much with you behind you. It does. Is there a light in the hall?
Yes.
Put that one on and turn the other one off. Okay. Now look in your screen after we've sort of cleared some of your background. We put on the lights that aren't overwhelming in your background. And now look at how you're framed in this video setup.
It's so much brighter.
And then as you move around, what you'll notice is that your camera sort of recalibrates. It makes it brighter and darker because it's still trying to find a mid-level. Sometimes it's helpful to have a separate webcam so it doesn't just change the auto exposure on you. You can just fix it at one place. But I find a quick fix to do is to put your hand right over the lens and then pull it back, and it kind of shifts itself and recalibrates again. Try that, see what happens. Okay, now pull it back out.
Oh, that worked.
Sometimes it recalibrates because you're moving your hands and the clothes that you're wearing. All sorts of things can happen, but this is brighter. This looks so much more alive. Yes. And when you have the right light and setup and angle, you come alive, and it's not even about your makeup.
Right.
Well, that does it for part 1 in our Beauty Over 40 Refresh series. In part 2, we'll be joined by a top style and leadership presence consultant to talk about creating and cultivating authentic style over 40. Don't want to miss part 2? Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon so that you're notified whenever there's a new video. Now I want to hear from you. Did you try out any of these tips? How did it go? Leave me a comment below. I would love to hear about it. Okay, see you in part 2 where we explore authentic style over 40.